This is Valley News Live at noon.
Happy Friday, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It is foggy out there, but we are in for some pleasant temperatures this weekend, and it may be a good time to tune up that snowblower and restock your winter preparedness kit just like that. We do have some big changes on the way with the potential for troublesome snow, so let's get right over to First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Lisa Green.
Good afternoon. Importantly right now is focusing on what we're dealing with at the moment, and that is the fog. In fact, the dense fog advisory has been reissued now. It is now in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon in eastern parts of North Dakota. It includes Grand Forks and Fargo and just basically every county along the state line with Minnesota, and then just beyond that as well. And this is the area where we've been experiencing not only dense fog, but that dense fog and the nature of the profile of the air that we have in place, trapping in pollutants. And so we've got some air quality issues going on within Fargo. Our air quality index as of last check, 153. That puts us just slightly but into the red category, meaning we've got some unhealthy air quality at the moment. So here's a look at what that means. That means that everybody is impacted by this, and you should be limiting your time outdoors and stay indoors if you can, especially for those sensitive folks. So this is going to last a little while as long as we have that fog in place, because the wind is not moving the air around and clearing out the air we have currently. And speaking of that fog, visibility down to 0 in Oaks and in Gwinner. In Cooperstown, we're at a quarter-mile visibility. It's at less than a mile in Jamestown and Valley City. Fargo at 1.5 miles in Grand Forks at a quarter-mile visibility, and this has been holding steady for a while. So again, we've got fog, we've got air quality issues. This also has an impact on your roads. So we're dealing with some frosty roads out there, and that's going to lead to some slick conditions. Beyond that, it is pretty quiet. So heading into the afternoon, we're going to be talking about this fog, when it'll be moving out, when that air will help to clear it out, but also talking about that big storm system that is threatening for next week. Details on those First Alert weather days to come in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Lisa, we're going to definitely have a lot to go over. Thank you so much. A portion of Interstate 94 had to shut down this morning after a semi caught fire. The State Patrol says the semi was traveling west on Interstate 94 when the driver noticed the lights and electrical stopped working and smoke coming from the engine. The driver pulled over and tried to put the fire out with a fire extinguisher. Troopers say the north wind was pushing the flames across both westbound lanes of I-94. The interstate was closed for about 30 minutes until firefighters could put it out. And it's sentencing day for the former Minneapolis police officer who kneeled on George Floyd's back while another officer kneeled on Floyd's neck. J. Alexander King is expected to be sentenced to 3.5 years in prison on a state count of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. King is already serving a federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights. Floyd died on May 25th, 2020, after former officer Derek Chauvin kneeled on Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes as Floyd repeatedly said that he could not breathe. The killing sparked worldwide protests as part of a broader reckoning over racial injustice. There will be no external review of the deadly police shooting of Shane Netterville in Fargo earlier this year. That was the decision last night by the Fargo Police Advisory and Oversight Board. Some members, as well as the Human Rights Commission, have been pushing for an outside investigation after the North Dakota Attorney General ruled the shooting was justified. The investigation report into the officer-involved shooting is now available online. WNBA star Brittany Griner is back home in Texas after being released from Russian captivity. The Biden administration negotiated her release from a Russian penal colony in exchange for an arms dealer. President Biden signed off on the trade, which took place in the United Arab Emirates. Griner has been in Russian custody since she was detained in February on drug charges. Now, the deal did not include Paul Whelan, a U.S. corporate security executive who remains jailed in Russia. He's accused by the Russians as being a spy, which American officials say is not true. He's been in prison since December of 2018. Whelan said he's happy for Griner, but is disappointed that more has not been done to secure his release. President Biden says the U.S. did not have a choice of who to bring home and that Russia refused to negotiate Whelan's release. Well, better get moving on your out-of-town packages. There are some key deadlines coming up. For the Postal Service, it's December 17th for first class, the 19th for priority mail, and the 23rd for priority express. FedEx's deadlines are December 14th for ground and freight priority and the 20th for express saver. For UPS, December 20th for 3-day select, the 21st for 2-day air, and the 22nd for next day air. Every one of them suggests shipping as early as possible. Well, good news at the gas pump this morning as prices are continuing to drop. The national average now sits at just over $3.32 a gallon, less than it was at this time last year. Gas prices are now
Gas prices are now at a lower point than they were a year ago. That's something that hasn't happened in nearly 2 full years. Here in the Atlanta area, not only is gas below the national average, in many places it's below $3 a gallon. Much better than where we were in June when the national average was topping $5. It's about a 35% drop across the country in the last 6 months. GasBuddy thinks the prices will continue to come down. We could be hovering around $3 a gallon nationally by the end of the year. Now that's an average because what you pay varies widely based on where you live. In Texas, it's closer to $2.75. California, it's more like $4.60. And Hawaiians, they're still paying more than $5 a gallon. What's driving the drop? Declining demand for gas, just as production is growing. Lower prices may help ease inflation numbers here in the States, but lower domestic demand could also be a sign of a slowing economy. Prices are down, but remember, as recently as Thanksgiving, we were telling you drivers were paying the most ever to hit the road during the holiday. This price drop we're seeing does come just weeks before the start of another busy holiday travel season, but that increased demand could also drive prices up. Real-world terms, GasBuddy says your average driver will end this month with about $80 more in their wallet than they were over the summer. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Atlanta.
The lowest gas price we found in Fargo was at Sam's Club at $2.85. The Sam's Club in Grand Forks is also the lowest at $2.93, and it's still $3.09 over at Casey's in Moorhead. Well, coming up at noon, it's not too late to catch big holiday deals. We'll run down some specific dates retail experts say that you can save money. But next, meteorologist Lisa Green will have your weather to plan your day.